I'm Aninda. This is Jesse. That's Tom. Hey, and Denton. So today we decided to do our project on LinkedIn. Basically, LinkedIn is the professional social network, and it's catered toward the business field. Yeah, like I said, so LinkedIn is a social network that is catered towards the business professional and any other businesses like small businesses and whatnot. It was founded in 2003 by Reid Hoffman and members of PayPal and socialnet.com. There's a lot of members, but generally those are the most important facts. Like I said, founded in 2003. Basically, the company experienced growth and became a profitable company in 2006 by the way of advertising and paid profiles. And furthermore, by 2010, the company experienced hypergrowth and had over about 100 million subscribers, users, and by 2011, it was a publicly traded company in the New York Stock Exchange. And then now, after 10 years, LinkedIn has reached about 225 million members with a large scale of companies that are using it. Basically, it's used by 225 million people, 200 million plus that are professionals. It ranges from banks to large-scale businesses like Deloitte, McKinsey Investments, whatnot, and even, a local small business trying to promote themselves. Furthermore, a lot of students and prospective grads are also using LinkedIn. So people coming out of school or people just in school trying to promote that they are students in certain fields. Executives from Fortune 500 companies, it's a big thing. A lot of us want to be financially successful in life, and what better way than to work at a Fortune 500 company? So it's a good way to connect with those companies. And at this rate, LinkedIn is growing at about 1.5, maybe even 2 members per second. So some general features about LinkedIn is that once you jump onto the website, LinkedIn gives you a general, you have a custom profile that you're allowed to edit. And on your custom profile, you can't update a resume anymore, but basically they give you the steps to show everything that you would normally put on a resume. So it starts off with a general summary about yourself, little things, your work experience, your volunteer experience, certain publications that you've published throughout your lifetime, awards that you've received, most importantly your education. You can display your skills, what you're good at, say for Microsoft Word or PowerPoint and whatnot. And then causes that you're interested in, so if you're very environmentally friendly or if you like helping certain charities and whatnot, you can also put that on there. And certain interests and hobbies, little things that companies sometimes look at when they're hiring you. Also, LinkedIn has groups. Basically what groups does, it's a place for professionals in the same industry to connect with each other. They basically share content, post and view jobs, find answers for what they're looking for, make more business contacts within the same field, and establish themselves as industry experts. Another important thing with LinkedIn is they have job listings. So there's websites such as Monster, and you can go on Craigslist to look for jobs. But with LinkedIn, it's a very professional way to find jobs. You're allowed to connect with hiring firms and prospective employers in various companies that use LinkedIn. You can email them and stay in touch with them, and they can look at your profile and see your qualities and qualifications that if they're looking to hire you, you might set up an interview via Skype or whatnot. And now LinkedIn, the big thing is they're mobile. So you have an app, you can constantly update your LinkedIn profile. It's on Android, iPhone, and laptops, tablets, everything. And I'm going to pass it off to Jesse.
So guys, recently LinkedIn's been doing a lot of acquisitions. They're buying smaller companies to increase their services that they provide. The first company they bought out was Amspo. They're adaptive personalization of content, and the purpose of this was so they could do their upgrade LinkedIn recommendations. They bought them in August 2010 for $600,000. Then after that, they went and purchased Choice Vendor. The Choice Vendor's purpose was business reviews, and they were bought in September 2010 for $3.9 million. So as you can see, the acquisitions are starting to increase in size and quantity of how much you're paying for it. And the purpose was so you can do business reviews on LinkedIn itself instead of having to use a third party. And then after that, they bought Card Munch. It's a business social contacts tool that was bought in January 2011 for $1.7 million. The purpose of that purchase was so they can scan and import business cards onto LinkedIn itself. So it's essentially another tool adding to their arsenal. They bought Connected, which is a social customer relationship management service, and it's bought in October 2011. The price was not specified, but the purpose is to enhance the LinkedIn premium service. They also bought Index Tank, which is a social search engine that was bought in October 2011, and same thing, the purpose was to enhance the LinkedIn premium service. They bought Reparative, a business social contacts service that was bought in February 2012 for $15 million. The purpose of this was so they could link your Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn accounts into your Gmail. So everything's all in one service now. They bought SlideShare, which is a business contact service, in May of 2012 for $119 million. The purpose was so people could find each other through the content they look up and not just like actually having the recommendations sent to them. So it's like if you're looking up on financial articles and the companies, people looking for similar content would be recommended to you to network with. Pulse was a business and it's a web mobile news reader, and they were bought in April 2013 for $90 million. The purpose was so LinkedIn could actually own its own publishing platform, which they did not have at the time, and it's just easier for them to purchase once they start creating their own. And the final acquisition they've done was Dig. They actually didn't purchase the company, they purchased certain patents of the company, and the one main patent they bought was the click button to like up a story. Essentially what it is like you can like up a story so as the news is trending, it'll go up in the charts. There are actually some issues with LinkedIn, believe it or not, and one of them is the perks aren't free. There is cost being able to access a full LinkedIn experience, and in order to receive the business plus experience, you need to pay $50, around $51 per month annualized. So that's like the cheapest possible way, instead of doing the monthly payments. And services range from $20.95 to $75.95, and that's on annualized payments. If you're doing a monthly payment, I have 20% more to that. So you can see it's not exactly the cheapest way. There's actually a cost involved with picking up a full experience. You'll find on LinkedIn when you search under Vancouver and the finance category itself specifically, you find a lot more smaller companies that have 1 to 10 employees, which makes up about 130 companies on LinkedIn under Vancouver. So there's like a large number of smaller companies there, whereas there's only 54 companies with 11 to 15 employees. So you see the numbers start dropping significantly. And when you get to like 51 to 200 employees, there's only 25 companies left. And then when there's 200 to 500 employees, there's only 5 companies left. So you can tell the numbers just keep on dropping. So it shows you that you can find a lot more smaller companies on LinkedIn when you're looking specifically in Vancouver. Whereas like in other cities, you'll find there's more bigger companies. So Vancouver gets relatively smaller with the business headquarters. LinkedIn is a very business-oriented social media site, so that's why you can mix the business with pleasure. On Facebook, you can get away with posting your drinking pictures, your smoking pictures, and whatnot. On LinkedIn, if anything like that gets posted, it's essentially like a stain on your shirt. It sticks out, and like prospective employees and prospective employers usually look at that. And I know for a fact my friend's dad that does it himself, and he owns a business. And he's like, he scans through his employees before he actually hires them or employs them. And I'll pass on to Tom.
Up there, that was. So I did Superstars of LinkedIn. Yeah, I said fudge. Yeah, so I did Superstars of LinkedIn. It's just people and companies that have established themselves really well. You probably think it's guys like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates or companies like Google, but it's actually this guy. He's the #1 connected guy on LinkedIn. Anybody even heard of this guy before? Didn't think so. Right, yeah, a lot of people consider him the master of LinkedIn just because of how well he's done. He's got over 50,000 connections and 3,000 recommendations. He does have a career in finance. He's a financial planner at Walmart. He's got a lot of previous experience at Fortune 500 companies. But what's interesting is despite his financial success, his main passion is actually helping out companies and individuals that are kind of struggling in business. And he does this by working as a social media consultant for these companies. And he does this through a company that he founded in 2007 called Burner Consulting Corporation. It's actually a non-profit company. So most of this consulting work that he does, he actually doesn't get paid for it, which I found kind of interesting. And Ron Bates is another guy. Again, he's very well connected. He's got 42,000 connections on LinkedIn. He's a managing principal at Executive Advantage Group. And he's got a really accessible and open profile. One of the first things he has listed in about him is he basically asks people how you can help them with their executive recruiting needs. And he also has a lot of business articles that he's written posted on his profile about hiring executives in succession. And succession is basically like when an executive of a company either gets fired or quits, leaves for whatever reason. You have to replace that executive. And he considers himself one of the best people in the world at identifying and recruiting executives. And obviously he's been able to back this up because that's how he's become so successful on LinkedIn, by doing exactly that for companies. And the most in-demand employer in Canada on LinkedIn that I found was Suncor Energy. They have nearly 70,000 followers on LinkedIn, and also over 11,000 of their employees have LinkedIn profiles. And the profiles are fairly well detailed as well. They're not just like blank, no profile picture, rarely updated. They actually have a lot of information on them. And the page itself is also very detailed and accessible. They list their current job opportunities, and they actually update it quite often. I looked at it a couple of days ago. I think within 2 days they posted something like 50 different new job opportunities across Canada. So they keep it quite updated. And they also list current projects they're working on and services provide. So they basically give you all the information you need, whether you want to work for them or hire them to do work for you. They market themselves as trusted stewards of natural resources. I think basically what they're trying to tell you there is that they're a responsible company when it comes to the environment. And they back this up by posting a lot of blogs and articles on work they're doing. And when it comes to the environment, they've actually posted blogs about how they're starting to invest in like wind energy and other biofuels, just being more green in general. And yeah, so those are the stars of LinkedIn, and I'm going to pass it on to Dave.
Thanks, Tom. Tom has showed us the people who are doing great on LinkedIn, and also we can call them the influential people on LinkedIn. Well, in business, human resource and relationship are always the most important element that makes the business And so we haven't known the importance of LinkedIn as a resume, also as an advertisement of yourself and your companies. Well, some say we have to learn. We learn from success. We also learn from failure. Well, we have successful people on LinkedIn. So today I wanted to show you who are the dogs on the LinkedIn and what makes them the dog. So let's go over 2 examples here. Okay, Metrolife. They claim themselves are the largest and successful company. It's in Ontario. They're providing community newspaper, and they also service like information services, and XWave, which is a IT service company. So those are the 2 companies I find is maybe pretty extreme, but I think these are good examples. Let's take a look at what their webpage looks like.
Maybe it's just not impressed with everything.
Okay, here's actually it's a screenshot of their page, XWave. So we can basically see their page have nothing else to attract you. For only 2 seconds I spent on this page, I realized this company is so boring. Well, we're having seen the basic information here. Basically, on every page we have 3 tabs up here: home, products, and insects. well, some company managed to amplify each tabs there, but X-Wave and Metroland, they have nothing in the home tab and products tab. Will fill in the insights because the people who you connected already. Well, another thing I noticed is employee numbers will have a pretty big influence on the company's performance in the LinkedIn. Well, it's not always the case. Well, some companies have fewer employees, but they're doing a good job on LinkedIn. But most of the times, our employees' numbers are really connected to how a company's performance in the LinkedIn. Yeah, so okay, we haven't know the examples, or we're trying to find out what to not to do to make to make your page look so good. So the first thing I've noticed, there's exactly no updates. You have nothing else to say except the basic information, and also you have no news or articles written by their companies or employees. Something else is you gotta have a photo text for the account, right? This seems like people are no longer using this account. So make your companies untrustworthy. So that's the thing trying to avoid. I will pass it to Denton. Thanks.
Alrighty. Now we've heard about the stars and the dogs of LinkedIn. I'm here to talk to you about who's using LinkedIn in the best way in the local financial sector around here. Van City stood out head and shoulders above everybody else. They're instantly accessible. They have right at the very top of their page is like meet our employees, and it's a beautiful little well put together vignette about, you know, everybody's humanized. There's people work here. We're not going to treat you like a robot. And that's important because when looking through all the others in the LinkedIn pool, it was a rather shallow sort of affair. There was a lot of what Pei had noticed. There was just bios, you know, our company was started, this and this, and then it just like trails off with useless information. Van City was not like that. They're colorful. They bill themselves as a socially responsible company. That means they're a living wage employer, and that's $19.50 an hour, I believe, in Vancouver, and that's enough to subsist a family of four as a bare minimum, they say. So that's their minimum wage. And I mean that played right into the whole. You know, there's Happy and Tamara. She's a face to the company. You know, quoting Pei again, he was talking about there wasn't any profile pictures or anything. It's just a bunch of, you know, this is how many people we have. Well, they have Tamara Ruman. And she has a quote, it was sustainable bankers believed that we must improve the quality of life on the planet, recognizing that we are economically interdependent and responsible for future generations. So I mean, it's not just like a bank. They really want you to be engaged here. You can draw a comparison more with a company like Lululemon, who is really, you know, rocking hard on LinkedIn. They have lots of job postings and everything. So does Van City. Lots of job postings, lots of interactions, lots of feedback, and yeah, that was pretty much what you want to shoot for. And we'll go to don't be like Coast Capital. They were wishing that they were like Van City. It was a sterile experience. They had one job, or not a job posting, but one posting was the You're the Boss mortgage. I'm sure everybody saw that commercial way back in the day. But that was it. This is what it reminded me of, a bunch of sterile things. And just kind of strung up there. There was like no color variations. Everything was underwhelming. They had 2,727 followers. You didn't get the impression that anyone was actually on the site though. So that was the impression that they gave. And yeah, so continuing on. What you want to do, and we notice in the financial sector around here, is you want to humanize banking and the experience. I mean, the banks, if anybody's noticed in the last decade, have gotten a lot more colorful, a lot more warm and vibrant. I thought it was odd that the social media hadn't followed with it. Van City was the only one that made their page seem like it was actually a place you want to be. You want to work for them, you want to invest your money with them, so you want to do. It's a lot less creepy to be on LinkedIn than it is to you know, have cold calls and people showing up and try to sell you random products. And, yeah, it's an opportunity to engage people outside the bank itself. People don't like going to banks, so that's That's pretty much it. I'm gonna pass you back to Anand to wrap it up for us.
All right, basically, there's a necessity for LinkedIn now. There's a lot of relevant people Googling you, and sometimes your Twitter and Facebook handle is not the professional way to publicly advertise yourself. As you know, relationships are crucial in your career. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know a lot of the times. And you know what, LinkedIn just helps you build a global profile. So you find opportunities elsewhere, not just Canada, but the States, South America, Asia, Europe, wherever it be, thus making you a more well-rounded person and helping you find a lot more new opportunities. And to sum it up, sorry about that, a resume is no longer enough. There's a need for a professional online presence. Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
Sorry about the little malfunction there. I was trying to move so my head wouldn't block the screen.
How many of you have LinkedIn profiles?
I'm an expert level LinkedIn profile.
As you can see, I was really bad.
Carson?
Is the pricing that Jesse was talking about, is that monthly or annually?
It's monthly, but that's for annualized payments.
Okay.
So if you're gonna do it like a 1 year payment, that's how much you'll be paying per month breakdown.
I got one more question. Like major companies, do they support like LinkedIn profiles? Like, would they pay for a profile, like you to have an expert profile? Is that what they want, or?
It's based on the company. Some companies offer different perk packages, right?
Yeah.
It depends on like who you're working for and what they're promoting. You know, companies promoting social media and they want you to be on LinkedIn so they can show everyone that, oh, we have all our employees are on LinkedIn. I can see them doing it. But like Coast Capital on the other hand, like they don't really care about LinkedIn in general. So I don't think they really actually want to pay for you to pay a service and the cost is like almost $1,000, like $500 for each employee.
Yeah.
So it depends who you're working for and if they want you on LinkedIn or not.
Alrighty, well, thank you for listening.